Data from Canadian Arctic indicates local Indigenous food production saves costs and carbon, according to the Max Planck Society, emphasizing local food production over imported substitutes can lead to significant cost and carbon savings, according to data from the Inuvialuit settlement region of the Canadian Arctic, the Inuits that is. The research collected by the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology and the Inuvialuit Regional Corporation shows potential annual savings of more than 3.1 million Canadian dollars and roughly half the carbon emissions when locally harvested food is used instead of importing food. The study underscores the importance of climate change policies that take local food systems into account. Weakening of these local systems could lead to increased emissions and jeopardize the health and food security of remote communities. The paper is published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Local foods are critical to the food security and health of Indigenous people around the world, but local informal economies are often invisible in official economic statistics. Consequently, these economies may be overlooked in the policies designed to combat climate change. For instance, Indigenous communities in North America Arctic are characterized by mixed economies featuring hunting, fishing, gathering, and trapping activities alongside a formal wage economy. The region is also undergoing a rapid transformation due to social, economic, and climate changes. In Canada, the introduction of carbon taxation has implications for the cost of fuel utilized in local food harvesting. As a first step in understanding the sensitivity of the Arctic food systems to carbon tax policy, researchers from Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology, in collaboration with the Innovation, Inuvialuit Science and Climate Change Division of the Inuvialuit Regional Corporation, attempted to estimate the economic and environmental importance of local food production in the settlement region in the Western Canadian Arctic. And to do this, the authors utilized data from a regional study of harvesting conducted in 2018, aiming to calculate the total edible weight of food produced by Inuit harvesters within a 1-year time frame. Reducing CO2 emissions requires locally adapted policy. The authors then calculated what it would cost to replace these foods with market substitutes like beef, pork, chicken, or farmed fish. They then gathered data from agriculture and transport science to estimate the carbon emissions associated with producing and shipping market substitutes to Arctic communities. And finally, using data from a community-based study of Inuit harvesting in one community, the area of Ulukatuk, the research team was able to estimate the amount of gasoline used per kilogram of food harvested and use this information to infer the total amount of gasoline used in local food production in the region. The resulting estimate suggests that under plausible scenarios, replacing locally harvested food with the Inuvialuit settlement region with imported market subsidies could cost over 3.1 million Canadian dollars per year and emit over 1,000 tons of CO2 equivalent emissions per year. And in contrast, gasoline inputs to local harvesting cost approximately 295,000 Canadian dollars and result in 317 to 496 tons of emissions, less than half of what would be emitted by market substitutes. Our findings illustrate how local food harvesting, even when reliant on fossil fuels, as is the case in the Canadian Arctic communities, are more economically efficient and less carbon intensive than industrial food production, says first author Elsfep Reddy, researcher at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology. Local food harvesting also reduces reliance on supply chains that are vulnerable to climate change. The results indicate that climate change policies that fail to account for local food production may undermine emission targets and adversely impact food security and health in remote communities, which face heightened economic and logistic constraints relative to more populated regions. This finding is significant because it illustrates that while climate change is a global crisis, successfully reducing emissions requires local adapted policy. The statistical modeling approach developed in the paper lays a foundation for similar studies in other regions. This is from Max Planck Society on phys.org. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.